All right, so we are at I am recording, okay. We are at it is time for our 30-minute hop edition on Prost, our Munich Dunkel here at Cartridge Brewing in the beautiful historic Peters Cartridge Factory complex, renovation, historical product. It's a 2-pound Herzbrucker. Nice subtle little noble hop addition here in the middle of the kettle. Maybe being able to help lift up a little bit of noble hop character, a little floral, a little earthy. Again, the idea is a lot of times when we think of hops, we think about these robust American hops that we're slinging around that are all tropical, citrusy, more old school, maybe piney, little dank, stuff like that. This is not what we're doing with these classic German-style beers. And remember, this is the brew day, which is kind of a big experiment with this beer. We've made this beer a lot. I love it. Honestly, it's one of my beers I'm proudest of that we have on tap. As always, we want to get an ultra-clean lager fermentation. We use Imperial Yeast Company. Imperial Yeast. They're awesome. Great customer service, both on the sales side with Nina, give Nina a call, or on the lab side. I can't remember some of the lab folks' name, but they've always been great, knowledgeable. When you call them, you don't feel like they're just, like looking something up and reading you the description of something. They got knowledgeable people working there. It's really great. Great service, all that stuff. So we are harvesting off of the Harvest Lager strain. That's our house lager strain here. We'll usually get about 10 generations out of it before I buy a new one. But we love that strain. It's a real workhorse, low sulfur producer, and we're harvesting that for our brew day today. We want to make sure that we're treating that yeast well, good pitching rate, harvesting at the appropriate time to keep these nice, clean, vigorous fermentations going for these German lagers. So this whole thing comes down to being clean, trying to be precise, trying to be repeatable, changing one element at a time. You heard? All right. Next up, we're going to have a nutrient addition. We are going to have a Whirlflock addition, and then we are going to be knocking this kettle out, turning the steam off, whirlpooling it, and getting ready to send it to the fermenter through the heat exchanger. All right, so we are just about to wrap up the boil. Our amazing assistant brewer up there, Maggie, is going to be killing the steam here shortly, which will cut off heat to the kettle, and then we are going to begin whirlpooling our kettle. In order to do that, we open up the Whirlpool valve and we open the kettle drain. And then when she kills that, we'll turn the pump on and it'll start circulating that wort in the kettle. Go ahead and cut the steam, Mag. Boom. I'm going to start that pump. For me personally, I've kind of changed some stuff on this through talking to some brewer buddies of mine, looking at some research. My one buddy was talking about how there's kind of like, you can get to a point when you're pumping your wort around like this, that if you pump too hard, you can get some shearing and actually create like potentially a haze issue downstream. Also listening some interesting stuff from the guys from Chuckanut, which arguably make some of the best lagers in the country, that they really try to minimize the amount of time between flame out and getting into the fermenter on yeast. I've reduced the amount of time that I whirlpool and also how hard I whirlpool. I'm only whirlpooling for 5 minutes now. I used to whirlpool for 10. And we have rotation there? Yeah. Sweet, yeah, just seal it up. Thank you. I'm really only whirlpooling for 5 minutes now, and then I'm going to cut it I used to let it rest for longer, but I have it down to about 20 minutes that I'm going to have it resting. And then we're just going to go ahead and start slamming it out through the heat exchanger, getting it cold, getting it into the fermenter on yeast. So really trying to cut that time down. Anyways, I think that's it. We are now knocking out Prost, which is our Munich Dunkel. Things are looking quite good. We're knocking it out at just a hair under 50 degrees. We're knocking out at 48 degrees. I'm going to flip this around and show you what we're tracking here. There's some water going on the ground right now. That is one of our water sources that is going through the heat exchanger. Just the big picture idea with the heat exchanger is we are sending cold water in one side and it is coming out hot because we are sending hot wort in one side and sending cold wort out the other, okay? So at this point right here with the red line, we are injecting oxygen into this nice dark brown beer. And technically we're at this point, and we are running through here. We've got a bunch of things going on today, so it looks a little bit like a mess. That line is going up to this yeast brink, which was formerly full of yeast, and we're pushing that wort through to the fermenter. We see the bucket bubbling from displacing all of the atmosphere inside the fermenter. Things are looking good. We just finished up knocking this kettle completely out, and I want to show you what the Whirlpool does. When we are done boiling the wort in the kettle after 90 minutes for this brew day, we pump wort around the outside edge of the kettle. It forms a kind of little vortex, but a swirling motion, but not some big dipping, crazy vortex thing like that. And then we turn the pump off and we let it rest. The point is so we kind of get this big cone of hot material, protein, grain material, things like that. And I'm going to give you a look at that right now. All right, so this is what this looks like. This is, I'm going to try to get over that steam real quick. Maybe I need to be further up. This is this trube cone here in the kettle. And then you can see this outside edge. That's where I draw wort off of, where the flashlight's on right now. I use this little standpipe that's thrown over there. But you can see that it leaves all of the hops and protein stacked up in the center of the kettle. This is what the Whirlpool produces. All right, everybody, thank you so much for watching. If you feel as if you got any value out of the video, please like and subscribe. There are also other videos that you can watch. They're gonna maybe be over here or over here. Appreciate you watching.